Okay, so now shalom. So now let's get right to this, right? We're not going to bounce around. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. I want to get straight to this message. But first, I want to say some things, right? Well, first, let me introduce the message. This message is titled Oxygen. This message is titled Oxygen. Okay? Oxygen. Here is my intro. This message is going to consist of one introduction and three segments. This message is titled Oxygen. It's going to consist of one introduction and three segments. The introduction is us human beings, we breathe out carbon dioxide. Okay? A lot of people would think that we breathe out oxygen. That's not true. If you were to put two people inside of a closed containment about maybe the size of let's say about maybe the size of a small bedroom, sealed it up completely, they couldn't get out, no holes whatsoever, okay, they would probably run out of oxygen before they starve. Let me repeat that. If you put two individuals in a small bedroom, okay, in a containment unit, the size of a small bedroom, no way to get out, no openings, completely sealed, they would probably run out of oxygen before they starve. So we don't breathe out oxygen. So that one person cannot survive off of the other person. They're not going to exchange oxygen. They're going to breathe in, they're going to breathe out, and eventually the air that's inside the room, because you take air into your lungs. So when you take the air into your lungs, you breathe. Inside of a small room, you both would take in the air that's in the atmosphere until it's all gone. And then you're going to die. Okay? So we breathe out carbon dioxide. The trees of the planet take in carbon dioxide. And then the trees release oxygen. So without any trees on this planet, we all die. It's just that simple. Not rocket science. Now, many trees have been burning down forests, large forests. A forest, by the way, is an ecosystem. A forest is an ecosystem created by Christ. It's an ecosystem created by the Most High. Now, there will be artificial ecosystems being created coming into the future, the very near future. Technology is about to go, it's about to be rapid. It's not going to be like the television, the first television to the first cell phone. The first television to the first cell phone was about, 40, 50 years. Technology is not going to move that slow henceforth. We are now in the age of artificial intelligence. 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 plus 2 equals 4, 4 plus 4 equals 8, 16, 32, 64, 112, on and on and on and on, or 128, on and on and on and on. Artificial intelligence is growing intelligence by rapid speeds. Information technologies and everything is about to just start skyrocketing. We are at the brink of artificial intelligence. And many of us are going to get left behind because even the economic system is changing. Some people still think that real estate is the primary, is going to be the primary asset. False. Okay? Now, I want to tell you all something, right? So, we all need oxygen to breathe. Oxygen is extremely, extremely important. Well, there's something else that's going to be almost as important as oxygen. Not quite, but damn near. At least to all of you, but not to me. Now, I want to give a disclaimer before I say what I'm going to say. This is still the introduction. Pretty soon we're going to move into the the three segments. One introduction, three segments. This message is titled Oxygen. First, let me give my disclaimer for what I'm about to say. I know I'm despised all across everywhere, the internet, even as I walk up to people in public. Many people, now there are a lot of people that don't despise me. A lot of people, they really do have a love for the information that I give. And many people are on my side, but the majority of people despise me with a passion in many different ways, okay? For many different reasons. Now, don't worry about where I've been for the past 2 weeks. That's none of your business. That's none of your business, okay? Why is it that every time that just lets me know how much many of you want to hear me speak? As soon as I go somewhere, all types of rumors and all types of slander, and many of you are still believing the slander about what I'm thinking. That's absolutely stupid. Okay? I'm going to call most of you people over social media, you're stupid. Yeah, I said it. And if there's anybody in this city that has a problem with it, I don't even care. Many of you are absolutely stupid because you're believing what people are telling you that I'm thinking. When I'm hardly thinking about, there's something far more. We are at the brink of artificial intelligence. I need you all to understand what's going on here. Now, what many of you should be worried about instead of social media is your families, your children, your sons, your daughters, your wives, your husbands. Many of you are so stupid that you're so glued to your phone and you can't even concentrate on the things that really matter. That's stupid. That's almost as stupid as not believing in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Most of you niggas are stupid. I said it. Stupid. Now, I see y'all when y'all walking down the street, even when y'all driving, y'all like this. What the is you worried about on social media for? Huh? Do you all understand what's happening around you? No, you don't. Now, here's my disclaimer. I love black women. We're still in the introduction, by the way. I love black women. I love y'all. Okay? But many of you are very, very foolish. I love you all, but I despise the way that many of you are wired. My grandmother was my favorite black woman ever. She had a heart attack and a stroke at the same time. She went into the hospital and she lived in the hospital for almost a year. I didn't go see her the whole time. Why? Because I couldn't stomach it. When I finally went to go see her, she died the day after I went to see her. That's because all she was waiting for was her grandson to come and see her. That's how close I was to my grandma. I came from the womb of a black woman. I love my mother. I love my wife. Okay? But I'm still going to say what I'm going to say. Many of you black women are stupid. Yeah, I said it. At this point, I don't care what anybody thinks anymore. Okay? Many of you are so foolish, it doesn't make any sense. The way that you're wired, the way that you're mentally wired is absolutely foolish. A lot of you white women as well. You white women don't get a pass. The only reason why I speak less of you is because you're not my women. So I really don't care what many of you do. Now, I don't despise any of you. I don't hate anyone. Anyone is welcome to listen to this message. Whether you're China, white, Jap, no matter who you are. In fact, it'd be very intelligent for you all to listen to what I have to say. Now, for you black women out there, if you think that this message, I'm going to tell you right now, that this message might be corny to you. It might be nut shit. And it's going to be very unimportant. It's Friday night. So if this is something that you don't want to listen to, then go and have fun. For 50% of you men, for 50% of you effeminate men, you can all do the same thing. Go and have fun, because knowledge is the most principal thing. In all thy getting, get understanding, get knowledge. Okay? Now, let's get into this. The first segment, there's 3 segments. Once again, the title of this message is called Oxygen. The first segment to this message is called or titled The Return of the Fallen. Yes, I said it. The Return of the Fallen. So if this automatically, spiritual things must be spiritually discerned. Already, if this is corny, too corny for you, please leave. Because many of you want to hear what I have to say. See, many of you despise me, right? You throw all types of subliminals across the internet, right? And many of you think that you know what I'm thinking. If I'm going for a week, I'm thinking this or I'm thinking that. I'm so sad or I'm so this or I'm so that. What? I don't understand. Do any of you have a life? How many of you think about me constantly? That's what I want to know. What about your wives? What about your husbands, your children, and your sons and your daughters? Okay? There has to be something better just because I'm not speaking at the moment for whatever reason. Don't you know that I have a wife and children and I have things that I have to do? And we're at the brink of an economic collapse. Either a bubble, well, we're in bubbles. So it might not necessarily be a collapse, not yet. But the point is, we're at some very major points, major turning points of society. And many of you need to take heed to what's going on around you. But what I'm going to do is give you all some level 10 information right now. Some level 10 information right now for you all to take heed of. If you don't take heed, then you're foolish. Okay? Return of the Fallen. This is the first segment. Let's go to Ezra. We're going to go to the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha is the book. It's not, some people, they have the King James Bible that includes the Apocrypha. So go to King James Version with the Apocrypha. Okay? With Apocrypha. Okay? In the Apocrypha, I want you all to go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Okay? 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Okay? 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Okay? And we're going to start with verse 56. We're going to start with the 56th verse. 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha. 2nd Ezra chapter 6. We're going to start with verse 56. Okay? Now it says, as for the other people, this is Ezra, and he's talking to Christ. Ezra talking to Christ. Ezra speaking to Christ. And he says, as for the other people, which also came from Adam. So I just want you all out there to understand, for many of you out there that you despise the other nations, they also came from Adam. Okay? White people, they come from Adam. Arab people, they come from Adam. Chinese people, they come from Adam. They all come from Adam. We all come from Adam. There's no way around that. Now, let's not get it twisted. We're not all the same people. That don't mean that we're the same people. We're all different nations. And us black folks are the Israelites. Okay? Now, I'm going to explain. I want you all to pay very careful attention to this message. Okay? Because this message is far deeper than you can ever imagine. So that's like I say, to a lot of women, both black and white American women, Chinese American women, Japanese, if you're an American woman, period. If this is too foolish for you, run about your way. It's Friday night. Now, it says, 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 56, and it reads, "As for the other people, which also came from Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel." So, if you're not an Israelite, I'm just going to tell you the hard truth here. If you're not a black person or a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then you are of another nation. So if you do not love the truth, if you are of another nation and you don't love the truth, you're a non-believer of Revelations 1:14 and 15. Let me repeat that because he just said it, okay? So if you are outside of the nation of Israel, if you are outside of us Negroes that you see here in America and the other 11 tribes that are scattered across the world, scattered across the four corners of this earth, if you're a Chinese person, if you're a Caucasian, if you're a Japanese person, if you're an Arab, just listen to what I'm saying to you. If you do not love Revelations 1:14 and 15, and you despise the Torah, then you are worth spittle. That's the word. That's not, I didn't say it. Now, you can come and be grafted into Yahushua the Christ. Many of these camps and many of people people who adopted the Hebrew Israelite religion don't think that it's possible to become grafted into the Spirit. That's our problem. That's our problem. That's our problem as a people. I've heard people on Instagram say, "Why do we believe in an invisible God? Who would take a father away from his son? Who would take a son away from his father?" And I understand how you all feel. But many of you are constantly thinking down here on this level. I understand it hurts when you lose a loved one. I understand these things. But you have to understand there's a bigger picture. Okay? You people are so non-believing. And this is the reason why many of you are going to get what you're going to get. See, what I'm about to tell you in this message, you have to understand that everything revolves around black people. Not only does it revolve around black people, it revolves around the Jews, the real Jews, who are the same niggas that walk the street and sag their pants, and the same niggas that who can kick and holler over the internet, and the same niggas that's getting to shootouts and shoot one another and do all these things to one another, and the same niggas that hate on one another and do all of these things to one another. It is us. Everything is happening because everything is revolving around us. Everything. You don't believe me? As for the other people, 2 Ezra 6, we're starting at 56. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said, Yahuwah, you have said that they are nothing but like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto the drop that falleth from a vessel. I didn't say it. Okay? But if you love Revelations 1:14 and 15, then everything is everything. Then you have become grafted into Christ. It doesn't matter who you are. Verse 57, and then Ezra is going to say, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, these other nations, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords of us. So they're masters over us. All the other nations got it going on. We're the only dummies that's jealous of one another, envious of one another, wanting to stop one another from grow, slandering one another, lying on one another, gossiping one another, doing all of these things to one another. We're the only, well, don't get me wrong, it happens bit by bits in other nations. But we're the only people that are divided amongst ourselves, and a city, a house divided against itself cannot fall. See, we're supposed to be the house of Jacob, right? Us nations, right? Us black folk, right? But we're just nothing but discord and jealousy amongst us all. We can never accomplish anything this way, right? So it's going to say, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathens, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us. They've begun to be masters over us, and and to devour us. So we're also being devoured, not just in crime, because it's the murder rate is going to start rising from other nations towards us, right? But devour us how? In this economic system that we're in, and all of these things, right? So verse 58 is going to say, but we thy people. So Yahuwah, Christ, listen, we as your people, right? So Ezra is in his feelings, he's in his bag, right? And he's going to say, but Christ, we your people, whom thou hast called your firstborn, your only begotten. See, Christ was the only begotten, but see, Christ is Elohim, but we're not going to get into that. But Christ was the only begotten, but Jacob, our forefather, was also, Isaac, our forefather, was also a begotten of Abraham, right? And then Jacob, Israel, we became, as an entirety, we became his begotten, right? So, that's why also he calls himself the Son of Man, right? That's a little tricky, right? But to the circumcision, because the non-circumcision, you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, but to the circumcision, I'll explain that later, okay? But it says, but listen, Christ, as we're saying, but Christ, look, we're your people, right? And you called us your firstborn, right? You called us by your name, right? And are given into the. So why did you give us into their hands? So you got a lot of people that want to just constantly talk about the white man. They want to constantly complain about the white man, constantly complain about all of these things that's going on for the 100,000th time, because you have to keep telling blacks, listen, as I monitor you black people, many of you black people are so thick-headed and evil, you don't even know. You don't even comprehend, right? So if you all are wondering, and many of you just think that you're not in trouble, right? That what you think? Well, Ezra's going to say, why did you give us into the hands of these other nations? Why did you do this, right? And then this is what Ezra's going to say. Here's the jackpot verse, right? He's going to say, if the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Let me read that verse again, because that scripture right there is something that you all need to understand. Ezra's going to ask Christ, and he's going to say, if the world be made for us, so the world, this planet, was created for the Israelites. Now, I know many of you don't believe that. See, because there will be a return of there will be a kingdom come. And I want to tell you all something about kingdom come, because one of the main reasons why many of you niggas don't believe in the Bible is because the way the Bible has been taught. It's been taught from a white, westernized perspective. Nobody's going to go floating up in heaven. Now, don't wait. There will be a so-called rapture and all of that stuff, but it's not going to be how you think it's going to be. There will be one. There will be a catching away. Okay? And I know these things are hard to hard to fathom, right? But let's just not go there, because I don't want to take you all away from what I'm saying here. But on TV and the movies, they have people where, it's like, okay, they walk up to heaven and there's pearly gates, and there's a little angel at the gates, and you gotta, say, hey, let me in. He's gonna say, hey, well, where's your money, or where's your pass? It's some comedy shit like that, right? Well, I need you all to understand something, right? That's not it. Kingdom come is a very real thing. And the reason why it's phrased as kingdom come, because Christ is coming down here. Now, let me explain something to you all to put it into a better perspective for you all so that you all can understand. Yahuwah is a man. We were created in his image. It's called Kingdom Come because he's coming down here with his people just like he did before. Ah, you know, I don't even know why. Sometimes I don't even know why I waste my time. But Ezra just said it right there, right? He just said, now, if the world be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? And how long should this endure? It's going to endure until kingdom come. Black folk will be at the bottom until kingdom come. Period. Okay? There's no way out of these things. Okay? Now, I want to go to Matthew 24 and 37. Matthew 24 and 37. And I want you all to pay very careful attention to what I'm about to say to you. As it was, Matthew 24 and 37. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. So Christ is at the door right now. He's returning. Okay? And it's as I've given you a message before, and it was called, what was it called? Because it got taken down, right? 2 of the messages got taken down. Right? What was it? Oh, evil is among us. Evil, you know, I believe they took down one of the messages. I believe so. I'm not sure. Did they take it? Because I never went back and looked. When I was given that message, the radio cut on by itself in my car. And I think that many of you who saw that message, y'all saw that, right? Now, as it was in the days of Noah, if you all remember, okay, that Noah had preached for 120 years. Okay? He preached 120 years to you niggas. Right? To the ancestors of you niggas. 120 years. That's a long time. Okay? Only listen very carefully to what I'm about to say to you all. Of the population of people during the time of Noah, only 8 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And come to think about it, it was him, his wife. It was him, his wife, right? And I can't even remember who it was. I think it was like 2 families, right? Only 8 people got on that ark. 8 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people out of the entire population of people. Now, it wasn't that many. It wasn't 7 billion people like it is now. Almost 8 billion people. But it was a lot of people. Noah preached for 120 years to tell people to get on the ark because there was about to be a catastrophic deluge, which you all call today a flood. Well, it was a flood. Eventually it became a flood. But a deluge is more so like an explosion of water. I explained to you what had happened during that deluge. I'll be right back.